Real listening is asking questions because you don't know what the answer is. You're curious about what the answer will be. Mm-hmm. You don't already have an assumption about the answer.
Yes.
That's what a real question feels like and sounds like.
Yes.
You're not boxing people into a corner. You're curiously asking in order to garner understanding.
Right. And I also think one of the flags for that is when you're a question is being posed to you and it's a forced choice.
Yes.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
These
when
are not
did you
the
stop
only
beating your wife? And you're like, how do I answer that one, right?
Yeah. Well, or it's like, is it that you want me to do this or do that? And both of them are neither. They're not options.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a whole range of other options. And I think part of it is, like I said, slowing things down. And I will say, personally, there are moments where I am told I'm not listening. Mm-hmm. And I have trained myself in that moment to say, oh, instead of saying, yes, I am, and arguing with you, what I say is, okay, what am I not hearing? What am I missing? And then that changes the entire conversation, right? And you can do that very easily.
Yep. That's such a good example because when somebody says, I don't think you're listening, the first response that you typically hear is, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And if somebody said to me, you're not listening, I would say, can you say it again in a different way?
Yeah.
Meaning I wouldn't have much to say if I'm being told. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not listening. That person might be using that as a rhetorical and manipulative device. But if that was said to me, I would take it at face value and say, okay, can you say it again in a different way so that I can understand it? Yeah. And then I would really focus on trying to understand what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that once I've understood that what they're saying, we have a right to rip it apart or, do what. I'm not saying being passive or anything like that. I'm saying before you rip something up, mm-hmm. before you critique it, before you have issues with it, understand it, like deeply understand it. And don't just understand it for your own kind of voyeuristic purposes, but
shoehorn it to wherever you want it to go.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I think is interesting is there are times when I really think I'm listening, mm-hmm. and I will take a moment and I will say, I am listening, but I now know that I'm not understanding. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the beginning. Here's my understanding. What did I miss? Because you can have moments where you really are listening, but you're not quite understanding.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing too, because it's almost like we shouldn't be using the word listening for listening, because it's really really what we're talking about is understanding.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right. So the whole point of listening is for understanding.
Right.
And if you're listening, like with your ears, this is why I say make your whole body into a sail so that it receives, like deer, they have these really big ears that are like sails and they move them around, they articulate them so that they can pick up sounds. Mm-hmm. Well, make your body into a sail, including your ears, but everything else as well, your eyes, everything, picking up on the emotion, all that kind of stuff. And hear what the person's saying to the level of understanding them. Yes. Right? Because if we just go listening, sound is entering my ear. Sure. I mean, we can always claim we're listening, but we don't really mean, we're using listening as a metaphor almost.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's really about understanding. And there's so many things. I mean, and if you've ever talked to people that have been quote unquote trained in listening skills, they are obnoxious.
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever...
Yeah, they're the ones that what I hear you saying is blah, blah, blah. And you're like, if you say what I hear you saying one more time, I'm going to lose my shit. It just feels like you're being manipulated because they're using like this algorithm and you're like, you're just playing this algorithm instead of deeply connecting to what I'm saying.
Yes, it reminds me of when you're talking to an elementary school child and you ask them a question and they repeat the question as part of the answer autonomically.
Exactly.
And then it
not just in elementary school. They're doing that in college. They've been so trained.
Yeah, I just remember visiting the kids' classrooms and thinking, why are they saying the exact question back to me before they even answer it? And I think it's a technique that they've been trained.
Yeah, they've been trained to do it. You have to because you always have to answer the question
Yeah.
by repeating the question at the front of the sentence. So they've been trained to.
Well, that's moved into conversation.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
Well, so listen is a really
It's big, and it's like a really powerful skill if you actually do it, and you have to practice it to get good at it.
Yes.
Right. We kind of assume like either you're a good listener, bad listener, kind of. No.
Yeah.
You're not. Nobody is born being a great basketball player.
Right.
Nobody. You have to practice, and even the greatest of the greatest do a ton of practice, and they practice the fundamentals. And so a lot of these things we're talking about, they're just deeply fundamental.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we think that because they're so basic, you kind of learn them and you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you don't. You should practice this your whole life.
Yeah.
Every one of us should be practicing this our whole lives.
Yeah.
Because it's a basic. And basic means it's basic. Basic means it's basic. Basic means not that it's easy.
No.
It means it's basic. It means it's almost in everything.
It's foundational.
It's foundational.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying at the beginning, the whole personal thing, listening.
Yeah.
If you think about the problems you're having at work, the problems you're having at home, I would bet you a huge percentage of those because you're not actually able to listen.
Right, which means understand. Right?
Understand.
Which is why it combines with the systems thinking aspect.
Yeah.
And being able to see and understand things at a deep level, at a systemic level. So these things kind of interact with each other like Legos. They're modular.